Well, Annaline van der Poel is with Debt Rescue. She joins us now just for a little more insight on this here. Annaline, thanks indeed for talking to us. I mean, you in the space where you deal with people with increasingly high levels of debt trying to budget their way out of price increases. I mean, it's no doubt that they will have to manage this better. Your clients, I speak of, after the third consecutive hike by the Reserve Bank. It just makes things a bit more difficult, doesn't it?
Good afternoon, Devin, and thank you so much for having me. Yeah, the reality is all South Africans are going to be affected by this. We've seen in the last 2 years since obviously the pandemic has started, but like you said before, I mean, the interest rate is now sort of starting to be back where it was prior to pandemic levels. But consumers are struggling. I mean, all consumers are. We're aware of how tough it is out there, and every interest rate spike affects any debt we have, the repayment thereof. So, as you said, the bond, the credit card, the vehicle, the store cards, the personal loans, everything, all of their premiums, their minimum installments are now going to become higher. And consumers have already cut so much into their budgets to try and afford everything. And then we've got to factor in the other matters that affect our living expenses, such as the fuel price. I mean, we saw over 30% fuel price increases just in 2021, and this year has been very rough, and we're expecting quite a significant one next week as well. So it's very, very difficult out there for consumers right now.
Let me ask you, I mean, from observing some of the consumers, do you see a situation where more and more credit cards are being swiped for food and fuel?
Absolutely. We're seeing this. It's a combination of two factors. It's on the one side, it's definitely we're seeing more living expenses being purchased on credit cards. So this would be your food, your fuel, etc. And the problem with that is if your intention is not to settle that at the end of the month when you get paid your salary, you're starting to add interest onto consumables, which is a very, very dangerous situation for your budget. And the alternative is what we're also seeing is payday loans. So, salaries are coming in, debit orders are going off, payments are being made, and then there's more month than there is money, and they're having to revert to loans to make it till the next payday. And, it just keeps going that way.
So, I mean, typically when you deal with a client under debt counseling, I mean, one of the issues that would invariably come up is the fact that, look, here's the forecast, interest rates are going higher. It will affect that debt management to some degree, wouldn't it? I mean, it's all fractional, but at the end of the day, when you count that 3 consecutive hikes, the fourth one almost invariably coming up, it adds up. How does that affect actual management of your debt?
Well, the important thing that we have to remember here is, and now more than ever than we've ever had, is when we are working out our budgets, don't live to the maximum. I mean, it's normal. We work hard. We're tired. We want to spoil ourselves and reward ourselves, which means that when month end comes, we literally have nothing left until the paycheck hits, and we need to train ourselves, create that budget, make sure that we're making the necessary changes and leave room to breathe in the event that this is going to happen, because it's going to happen. We saw yesterday that 2 of the people who made the decision at the end of the day actually favored a 0.5%. 3 went for the 0.25. It's coming. We can pretty much bet that it's on our way. So go and revise those budgets now. Start putting money away if you can, and don't use every cent that you have in your bank account.
Just a quick one. I'm wondering whether or not there's a large-scale awareness out there of why the Reserve Bank actually adjust rates among consumers. I mean, this is really to contain inflation, and the argument even up until yesterday is that if they don't do it, inflation then rises, and ultimately you get the poor facing price increases. Do you think this is well understood out there?
It's been explained quite a bit, but realistically, I think it would be very good if we had a proper understanding of what causes the inflation, and then why specifically hiking interest rates brings the inflation down again. There is some more explanation or just clarification needed so that we all understand exactly how it works. But I mean, I think most do understand interest rates go up to keep inflation down. And we know that the last couple of months, obviously, we've seen the inflation. It's bordering on the upper percentile of what the Reserve Bank obviously wants. And we need to keep it down. Otherwise, we might just potentially have our economy and the financial circumstances out there just spiral out of control.
Annaline van der Poel, thank you very much indeed from Debt Rescue there. All right, let's take a quick look to see what's been happening on the markets. Pretty much flat. We still have some of the international events like the Ukrainian and Russian conflict weighing on the markets. We're flat at the moment. The rand still doing pretty good against the US dollar. Let's take a look.